What's up, guys? So, a lot of you have been asking me about my pegboard. There it is. I can't line up my hands with it. Whatever. And you've been asking me questions on like how I built it and whatnot. And to begin with, I am not an engineer. I'm not any type of construction worker. I really have no idea what I'm doing. So, any advice I give you, do what you want with it. This is just how I made mine. I have no idea if it's gonna fall down in like a month or so. But this is how I did it. So I started with, obviously I had to measure my little wall. I had this like weird area between my closet and the end of the wall here. So I thought that was like a perfect place to kind of practice for a pegboard. And then on the other side, I'm gonna build it up later. But what I did is I started with a board like this. Now this is a 2x8. Okay, this was 8 feet long, and oddly enough, my pegboard is 4 feet high. So it was perfect because I could just cut it in half. And just to let you know, if this is the first time working with wood, 2x8 does not mean that it's 2 inches by 8 inches. It's actually a little off. So I'm gonna let you go online, find the calculations for your own boards and the size that you needed. But my little area there was about 7 1/4 inches, which was perfect for the 2x8. And also I liked the 2 inches because it gave me a lot of depth for the peg to go in. Now it wasn't enough though. And this particular wood, although it's cheap, which is great for us, it's also not a very hard wood. So when you have your peg in there and you're twisting and turning and putting your full weight on it, the wood's gonna start to crush, right? And so what I did is I didn't wanna buy like that much oak or some harder wood. So I got this wood for a lot of the depth, and then what I did is I got a 1x8 of oak, which was a little bit more expensive, and I glued the 2 pieces of wood together. That was step 1. So I had a 1x8, which happened to be 4 feet long. You're gonna figure all this out when you go to like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever and buy all this stuff. That's not really the point of this video, just kind of how I did it. But what I did is I glued the 1x8 to the 2x8, just normal wood glue. I got some cheap clamps. Do I have them in here? No, I don't, but I bought some really cheap clamps, and I also threw some of my dumbbells on it, because that's all I have. And I let that sit for about 24 hours, because that's what the instructions said. Follow the instructions, always a good idea. And that was kind of the base for my board. So this board is actually 2 boards. It's a 1x8 on front. That's where the harder wood is. That's gonna be taking the grunt of the work of the peg kind of going in and putting pressure. And then this backboard is just kind of holding you up, holding you in, things like that. Again, this is just my idea. I don't know if it's good, but hey, it works so far. So 1x8 to 2x8. And then what I had to do is I have this awesome kit. You always have to get a drill, but this is the drill bit I got. See that, guys? This was about $7 or $8 at Home Depot. This is, can you see that? 1 3/8. So how did I pick that? Well, I went online because I was thinking about buying some pegs, some really nice like aluminum pegs. And all the really nice ones that I wanted were 1 1/4 inches. Obviously the peg hole has to be a little bit bigger than the peg that you want, right? But I also didn't want to pay a lot of money for pegs, maybe later, but not right now. So I got this long dowel rod for, I don't know, $5, $10 or something. And it's 1 1/4 inches. Which means the next like highest but closest kind of hole depth, length, diameter, or whatever you want to call it, was 1 3/8. So I got the peg preparing for getting nicer pegs and different holds and stuff later at 1 1/4. So this is 1 1/4 inches diameter, not radius, diameter. And then I got the 1 3/8 drill bit, and that was basically it for the holes and the pegs. And then it was just a matter of cutting this thing down. So here's what I found is I bought this really cool kit. You guys are gonna like this one. If you're not big into tools and working like I am, like I do a few house projects here and there, I got this awesome kit, and it comes with this interchangeable drill, right? You got a drill bit. I also have this like saw blade on it that I can snap into it, and it comes with this whole set of like all this other stuff that you can use. It comes with like a sander and all this other great stuff, and it's called the Black & Decker Matrix. Again, it won't work for like really, really heavy duty jobs, but if you're just doing little stuff around the house, kind of like I do, it kind of worked perfectly. So, here we go. I just used the drill for the holes. Now, trick there is, and I'll put links to all this stuff online so you guys can actually go online and see like how much it costs, whatever. That was just a great investment. I think it was like $200, $250, something like that. But it's helped me out for all my home projects. So what I did was just drill the holes. Now here's a big tip. This is something that I kind of messed up on. I knew it going into it, but I didn't feel my skills were kind of quite there. Is when you drill the holes, it's probably better if you angle them down a little bit so that when the peg goes in, you know, there's gonna be a little bit of room for that peg to move, so that when the peg goes in and it moves, it actually goes horizontal instead of going in horizontal and kind of buckling this way. So if you can drill the holes that way, hopefully that makes sense, it's gonna be a little better for you. Now my skills weren't there, so I just went in horizontal. It still works for me. It's not like it's that great of a movement, but if you wanna make it a little bit easier on yourself, drill those holes at like just a little bit of an angle. And then all I did was I used this little saw. You can use like a hacksaw or something too. I mean, it's only, like I said, 1 1/4 diameter, so it doesn't take that long to get through for the pegs. And let's see, my pegs, if you guys wanna know, these are pretty simple. Now they're not gonna last forever. You can already see they're getting kind of bunched up over here, so I'm gonna get some nice aluminum ones whenever I feel like spending the money. But I just went with 6 inches. That was kind of good for my hand. My holes in here are, I believe, let me double check for you. I should have like done that before I looked up this entire thing. My holes are about, I'd say about 2.5 inches in. You can go a little bit deeper if you're a little bit worried about it. 2.5 inches is kind of working for my depth right there. And then what I did was I tried to plan out how what the spacing of this thing needs to look like, right? If you go online, you can find like a lot of pegboards. If you Google fitness pegboard, don't just do pegboard because you're gonna get like a lot of weird stuff that you don't want. Google fitness pegboard, and you'll see people do like staggered holes. Some will do like mine, which are just even, and then you start to worry about spacing and all that. The reason I did what I did here is with the stagger, I was always kind of stuck with a stagger. I could never just kind of even out. With this, I can always change how I go. So I can stagger myself if I want going up the pegboard and whatnot. And what I did is I chose, let's see, I believe, so I make sure I'm right here. Yeah, I chose 6 inches on center. So the center of each hole is 6 inches apart. Now my reach can go more than that. It can go less than that. But the great thing is if you pick kind of a smaller number or drill a few more holes, is you can grow up into it. You know, these things are hard at first. This is what's called like a skill-based exercise, meaning even if you can do like 1,000 pull-ups, it's gonna take a little bit of time for your body just to get used to the movement and the motion of the entire thing. So, there's obviously the smaller you have to move, the easier it's gonna be. But also, the closer these things are together, as I get better, I can start skipping. You know, if I would have gone like 8 inches on center or 9 inches or something like that, and I got better, now I'm gonna have to reach like a little bit further if I want to level up and get better. So I went with kind of a smaller number, 6 inches on the height, and then determining what these are, across from each other. It's about 4 inches, a little bit under that, but that's just kind of stuck because that's the width of the board. That's all I could really do. I want it as wide as possible so I'm not hitting my hands together. Other than that, you'll need like a stud finder. Obviously, you need to put this thing into some studs. If you just put it in a drywall, you're just gonna like rip your entire wall down. So make sure before you start this entire thing, you have some kind of studs to put it in. I'm not gonna go over screws just because I don't know. I don't know like what weight bearing, what's kind of like good for your weight, things like that. I just found screws that were kind of like long and looked pretty strong. I know that kind of sounds kind of stupid, but it's just what I did. Hey, sorry. And then just mount it to the wall. You will have to take in mind depth from your ceiling, because right when you get to the top, your head and shoulders still need to fit over the board. And you don't want it too low, like this one's pretty low. I really can't start at these 2 holes, maybe these, but I generally start about there. I put it in just in case maybe someone's shorter, or maybe like a little kid comes over and wants to try, some family member or something like that. But just taking into consideration where you're gonna start, because you're gonna be wanting off the floor, you're gonna be wanting off the ground a little bit to start, and then how much height you have for your head as well. Other than that, mounted on there, I painted it. I just found some like finish that I had lying around from some other home projects I did. I found some like IKEA finish. It was like $6 and it was like this nice chocolate brown black type of color. And let me think, other than that, ladder to get it up there, dowel rods, pegs, boom, 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 boom. I think that is it. If you have any other questions for me, of course, let me know. This was kind of a practice for me, so I made a small one just kind of as a practice round. Now, this is eventually gonna actually go around the corner, but also make sure that wherever you put it, you have room to fall. Guys, I have like a nice squishy floor, so when I bite it, like I'm okay. I'm not gonna hit my head on anything. That's why I didn't choose to put it on that wall first, because I would just crash into the door and this other wall over here. So make sure that you have room to fall, because it's gonna happen when you first start this thing. Find someone to maybe spot you. My first time on Pegboard was absolutely horrible. I couldn't get it in the hole and everything was like bad. But other than that, I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. I think that is it. It's pretty straightforward. You know, take some measurements, get your wood, and then boom, have some fun with it. It's a great learning tool. It's awesome when you first kind of achieve it and you start going up it. It's like a lot of fun. Also watch out for the wall below it. A lot of people tend to use their feet on the wall, especially at first, to kind of help themselves get up, and it's a great like personal assist, so you don't need anybody else. But you know, you might mess up your wall a little bit, so I don't know, maybe you need to paint it, maybe you need to put a flat layer of wood over it, you know, just for those feet marks and all that stuff. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let me know. If I forgot to mention something that's like crucial, because I'm totally going off the cuff here, let me know and I will answer it for you wherever I post this, probably on YouTube. Bye, guys.